22 days later, on June 26, 1944, a telegram arrived at the Charlo home. Babe was dead. He may have been wounded as early as May 23rd, as his battalion struggled to take Cisterna during the first few hours of the Anzio breakout. 995 men from his division were lost that day. Perhaps the largest number suffered in a single day by any American Army division during the entire war. Hundreds more were killed or wounded during the next few days. Some of them hit by American fighter planes, whose pilots mistook their advancing countrymen for retreating Germans. Whenever Babe was hit, however he was wounded, he died on May 27th, 8 days before his birthday. Among the belongings in his pockets were 2 rosaries, his driver's license, a wallet with 16 photographs of family and friends, a blood-stained letter, and $1.61.
Well, I was out that night with the girls. We had a sewing club. I came home, and after I got off the bus, I see all these lights lit, which is very unusual that my mother would have all these lights lit. And the closer I got to my house, lights were all over the place, and I can hear people talking. And as I went up the front stairs, I can hear my mother screaming, crying. My aunts, uncles, everybody was there. And I didn't know what had happened. So my aunt called me aside and told me what had happened. Well, it was a terrible night.
When I got upstairs and found out what happened, of course, a complete shock to all of us because we thought everything was fine. Babe says everything is fine. He's coming home soon, and it'll be great. So, to tell you the truth, I just went into my room, I closed the door, and that's where I stayed.
The news of Babe's death spread throughout the neighborhood.
And my girlfriend called me up. She's crying. I said, what happened? Babe Charlo was killed. You know, we couldn't do a thing for days after that. We didn't, because all we could think of is him. He was always so happy and jolly and always so fun-loving. And then I'm thinking, he's not coming back. And it was terrible. Because you started to realize that this isn't just going over there and they're not coming back. Some of them aren't.
Babe's mother refused to believe her son was gone. There had been some mistake. She was sure of it.
My mother, of course, was... well, how can I explain it? She was a disaster. We would be getting the newspaper, and my mother would look at pictures, and she'd say to me, there's Babe. That's Babe. And I said, gee, no, Mom. No, you have to write. You have to write. I don't know how many newspaper offices I would write to, magazine places I would write to, questioning the name of that boy that was in that picture. Because my mother always thought it was Babe, but it never came to be. It was so bad in our house that nobody ever knows. I used to play the piano ever since I was a young girl. When my father passed away, when my brother Babe died, my mother had no music in the house. I never played the piano again.
By the late spring of 1944, events were accelerating at last. In the Pacific, the Americans were on the move. and a large force was steaming toward the Marianas, the islands of Guam, Tinian, and Saipan. On the Eastern Front, the Soviets had triumphed at Leningrad, then destroyed or captured some 250,000 German troops in the Crimea. But the basic fact remained that until the Nazi grip on Western Europe was broken, Allied victory was impossible. The German army had taken up new positions on the Adolf Hitler line, north of Rome. And the greatest test for the Western Allies, the long-delayed invasion of France, was now just days away. Back in Baton Rouge, Quentin Anderson from Laverne had to say goodbye to Jackie and prepare for war.
We were very much aware of the fact that there was a deadly calling. And we knew that the loss rates were extremely high. And so it was the Judge Advocate General's office that put this program in place, that all of us should have our wills drawn up. And of course we knew the reality of our situation, and so we tried to make light of it, but nevertheless we all signed our wills, drew up our wills. They were standard type wills. And there had to be 3 pilots that would witness the other pilot's will. The 3 pilots that witnessed my will were all dead in 6 months.
Next time on The War. D-Day.
As I bent down, this shell hit. But when I came to, my clothes were on fire.
And Saipan.
You never think about getting hurt yourself. You think about maybe some of your buddies are going to get hurt.
We live in constant fear of the telegrams.
Part 4 of The War.
To learn more about the war, visit pbs.org. To order The War on DVD with additional features, the companion book with over 400 photos and illustrations, and the CD soundtrack featuring music from the series, call PBS Home Video at 1-800-PLAY-PBS.